The reality is that it was not the end of the world, it was the end of a beautiful, amazing cycle, yes?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, right? And the beginning of a more beautiful, more powerful, more energized, more transforming cycle, yes? Okay, so I'm very excited because the year 2013, even the number 13 is very sacred, not only spiritually but mentally and emotionally. And this is the year of change. And whether you like it or not, change, you will go through the change. Okay, the only thing permanent in this universe is change. Okay, and what we're going to talk to you today is how to create that change purposely, how to be a deliberate creator, how to manifest your life, how to manifest the experience consciously. Because whether you want it, whether you like it or not, you are creating the life that you're experiencing now. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Even the unwanted experiences, you are manifesting it. You are allowing it. You are inviting it. Well, what do you mean, Victor? Okay. By the decisions that you make, by the choices that you make, by the thoughts that you have, by the emotions that you have, by the feelings you have, you are attracting from moment to moment the experiences, the relationships, wanted or unwanted. Even the ones that causes the most pain and struggle. For most of you though, not this group because this group's an enlightened group, yes, but for the rest of the world, most of you like to blame on the experiences that you don't like on someone else, right? The victim. And the reality is there's no victim here. Okay? There's no coincidence, there's no mistakes, there's no victim. But at that moment we're so angry, we're so upset that we have to blame it on someone else, yes? You know, relationships, one of the areas I specialize is in relationships, and I hear it all the time, especially from females, says, he makes me angry, he makes me sad, he makes me, the victim. When you play that game, right, the blame game, when you find reasons why the unwanted experience is happening to you, you are powerless, yes? Okay. When you say to someone, you make me angry, or you make me feel this, or you're the cause of this, you're telling that person that you have power over my actions. You have power over my emotions. You control my life, right? I'm not at cause. Okay? I'm here to tell you that you are 100% at cause for all the experiences, manifestations that you're living through. There is no victim. Okay? The successful people in this world always find reasons why they can. Unsuccessful people, so-called failures, there's none. So-called victims, there's really none. Find reasons why they what? Can't. And that's the huge difference. Okay? We're here to tell you that you do have a choice of the life that you want. And I understand that sometimes it feels it's not a choice of the life that you're getting. I didn't say you're doing it on purpose. I didn't say you're doing it consciously. But it is a choice. And what personal empowerment means to me, and here's my definition, is starting to deliberately, consciously be aware of the choices that you're making. Yes? Most important, starting to consciously, deliberately start making choices that allows you to take a step forward to what you want and not what you don't want. Because the majority of us, when we make choices, it's usually leading towards what we don't want. And we already know by the law of attraction, by the law of the universe, it doesn't matter whether you want it or you don't want it. You get what you focus on, yes? You get what you think of. So let your emotions be your guiding system. Because it's very difficult to monitor your thoughts, yes? We have a whole bunch of them per day. On average, we have about 45,000 thoughts per day. And literally about 90% of those thoughts were the same from yesterday. So people ask me, well, Victor, how can I be conscious of my thoughts? Don't. Be aware and conscious of how you feel, because that is your guiding system. When you're feeling happy, when you're feeling joyful, when you're feeling thrilled, excited, that is your guiding system, your higher self, your higher conscious, whatever word you want to put, telling you you are thinking of what you want. But when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling angry, when you're feeling guilt, that is your guiding system telling you you are thinking what you don't want. Okay? And I'm here to tell you that you get what you think of, whether you want it or not. So start focusing on what you want. Always say it like the way you want it. If you keep on telling yourself, I don't want to be sad, I don't want to be poor, I don't want to be lonely, guess what? You get more of what? That sad, that loneliness, and the poor. Okay? One of the other areas I specialize is in weight loss. And a lot of my clients say, well, this is what I want to lose, this is what I want to lose, and this is what I want to lose. And I tell them, instead of focusing on what you want to lose, focus on what you want to what? Gain. Instead of focusing, I want to lose 20 pounds, focus, I want to gain a six-pack. I want to gain a toned body. I want to gain energy. That linguistic shift will create a tremendous amount of power. And I'm excited to tell you that my partner, that's what he's going to emphasize, the power of your words, the power of communication, the power of language. Okay. Does that sound exciting?
Yes.
Beautiful. I met him in December. I did an amazing seminar. I had roughly about 100 people come. And at the end, I always get a lot of people coming up to me and say, good job, and I'm so excited, and you changed blah, blah, blah my life. And I remember this young gentleman, he also came up to me and he says, I do, what do you do? I'm like, okay, here's my card. All right. And I just ignored it for a while. And after about a couple of weeks later, I'm doing my follow-ups, doing my emails, and I saw his card again. I'm interested, so I went to his website, and I was amazed. I saw a few videos that he posted, and I started to learn that he's an amazing speaker. So I called him up, and we got together, and it resulted that he's an amazing presenter, an amazing speaker, and even more an amazing hypnotist. My friend, he comes from Florida, where he was very successful, did a lot of shows, did a lot of presentations, had a successful private practice as a hypnotist, as a hypnotherapist, and so forth, as a coach. And he decided to come with this lovely girlfriend a couple months ago here in San Diego, and wanted to get a head start. So we decided, well, why not do an event together? And this is the event. And this is the first of many, many great ones. We have so many, there you go, thank you. We have so many ideas and so many things that we want to do to empower you, because again, this is the year of change. And trust me when I say this, is that as long as you focus on what you want, there's nothing in this world that you cannot be, do, or have. Yes? Yes. Nothing. I'm here to tell you that everything you want, you are worthy. That everything you want to be, you are deserving. It is your birthright as a human to create what you want. We are creators, yes? Okay, we are here to manifest what you want. Okay? Don't let anybody tell you different. They will try. They will try. And if you let them, they will become part of your limited beliefs. But that's all it is a belief. See, once upon a time, you believe that there was a Santa Claus, right? And then you start to think about it, ask about it, and now you don't. Well, maybe most of you don't, right? But here's the thing. Most of us have limited beliefs that are preventing us from success, freedom, and happiness, yes? But it's okay, because awareness is the first step to change. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make you aware of maybe some of the few limitations you have, and through communication, through the power of language, through the power of words, allow you to let go of those limited, disempowering beliefs and install new, empowering beliefs that allow you to take a step forward to what you want. Does that sound good? Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm very, very excited to present an amazing speaker, an amazing, amazing presenter, an amazing hypnotist. Oh, and by the way, you guys are in for a treat. Because at the end of this amazing presentation, we're going to do a powerful, powerful, powerful group hypnosis, where we're going to help you install deep in your unconscious mind the goals that you want to accomplish for this year, the outcomes you want to accomplish. So as he's talking, please write down all the pros that you love, any suggestions that you want to hear from us, any outcomes and goals. Write it down, because that is the suggestions that we're going to give you during trance work. Sounds exciting?
Yes.
So without further ado, I'd like to present an amazing speaker, hypnotist, my good friend, Juan Acosta.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Awesome. My name is Juan Acosta, as he said. How many of you think, by a show of hands, how many of you think that because you're here at a free event, I'm going to sell you something at the end. All right, we have a few honest people. That's good, very good. Well, I gotta tell you, I am not going to disappoint you. Okay? And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I'm telling you this. It would be unfair for me to stand here and give you value for 30 minutes, show you a lot of things that you can use in your daily life, and then not tell you how you can actually continue to use these things and how you can learn more. Would you agree? So I'm telling you this so that you can relax for the duration of the presentation. When the time comes for the sales pitch, I will let you know. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Excellent. So first thing I'd like for you to do, my goal for the seminar is to give you at least 3 key points, 3 key things that you know that you can take and use today to make your life better. So if you have a pen and paper in front of you, would you write down the numbers 1, 2, and 3 on the left? And I'm hoping to give you a lot more than that, but if I give you at least that, then I will personally feel that your time was well spent. Would you?
Yes.
Okay, and if it wasn't well spent, then I'll give you all your money back, what you paid for today. Does that work? All right, excellent. So first thing I gotta tell you is that I am a hypnotist, professional hypnotist. I have a practice in Solana Beach, and it's what I do. So we learn to speak in some weird ways, and sometimes you may find that your conscious mind is wandering off, trying to figure out whether I said this or I said that, trying to make sense of it all, worrying whether you got everything or whether you missed something. And you just can allow yourself to pay attention to what I'm saying and understand that if your conscious mind wanders off, that's okay. Let it do that, because it's your unconscious that for the duration of this lecture is going to allow you to take all the things that I'm sharing with you and use them in a way that they make sense for you. Sound good? Yeah. Excellent. So before we begin, well, my talk is called Intentional Hypnosis. Before I actually begin with the talk, I want to talk to you about what hypnosis is. Because hypnosis has so many different names and connotations, and you may be thinking, oh, a hypnotist, is going to put me to sleep right away and going to make me cluck like a chicken. Right? That's pretty common. It's normal. Well, hypnosis, as it relates to this lecture, is what I want to talk to you about, so you can put what I'm sharing with you in the proper framework, so you can apply it to your life in a way that it makes sense for you. Right? What's true for me may not be true for you, but I will give you some examples that will take you from where you are to those goals, to where you want to go. Okay? So, what is hypnosis? Hypnosis is the moment of suggestibility and receptivity. It's an enhanced learning state in which we can effect profound changes. We can effect changes in ourselves, and we can effect changes in others. It's simply a way of using communications effectively in a way that your message gets through the right channel. So if you think about it, when you watch a movie and you get so involved with what you're watching that you actually feel the emotions of the movie, has that happened to anyone? Yes, okay. That is a state of hypnosis. You are so directed and so focused in what's going on that you forget that it's your real life, and you actually get involved in the movie and you follow those emotions. That is a state of hypnosis. Same thing when you're watching the news and you get either enraged or angry. That's a state of hypnosis. Has it ever happened to you maybe that you've been driving down the road, sort of daydreaming, and you got to your destination, and then you look back and you went, how did I get here? Right? I don't remember the steps of the journey that I took to actually get here. Or maybe you missed your exit, or almost missed your exit. All those are states of hypnosis. So hypnosis is everywhere in that sense. Hypnosis is everywhere. Anytime that you are inwardly directed, that you're consumed by your thoughts or the thoughts of somebody else that is interesting, that is a state of hypnosis. What I want to talk to you about today is how to actually learn to use and apply those moments of hypnosis to your benefit on purpose, or the benefit of those people that you're speaking with. So understanding that hypnosis happens all day long will help you understand when that's happening, how do I use it, and how do I actually help people make changes? How do I influence them to do what I want to do? Or better yet, how do I influence them to want to do what I want them to do? Okay? So I want to talk to you about 3 main areas in which we can use these so-called states of hypnosis. And they are the power of language, conversational trance work, and anchoring. How many of you came because of the NLP meetup? How many of you even know what NLP is? Okay, so there's a few of you. So you're probably familiar with the terms, of trance work and anchoring at least. I'm going to dissect each of those in a way that's easily understood. So let's just go ahead and begin. The power of language refers to the moments that we communicate with other people, which happens how often?
All the time.
All day long, right? I mean, unless you're by yourself, and even if you're by yourself, you're talking to yourself, right? So you're still communicating, and the power of language is very important. Power of language is not only our verbal, but also our non-verbal cues that we use. And the power of language means that the meaning of our communication is the response that we get. Right? For example, if I wanted you to become a coaching client, and I tell you a bunch of things that should make you want to become a coaching client, and then you don't want to become a coaching client, then I know that I have to back up and fix my communication because what I communicated was not received in the way that I expected. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Excellent. So the meaning of our communication is the response that we get. If you're trying to make somebody do something or ask him to do something, and you say it in a way that makes him go, no, I don't want to do it, then you know that you have to change your communication. You know, if you're telling your kid to wash the dishes and you're not getting through to him or her, then it's a sign that maybe you could change your communication and influence them in a different way. So one of the ways that is very important to understand how to affect the right meaning of our communication is by putting the proper emphasis on our words, on the words that we use. And I'm going to give you an example of a phrase that, well, I'll just let the phrase illustrate the point. The phrase is, I didn't say he stole her money. And this thing is not, I didn't say he stole her money. 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 Mm-hmm. I didn't say he stole her money. I didn't say he stole her money. I didn't say he stole her money. You understand? So just by changing the emphasis that I'm putting on each word, I'm giving this same sentence 7 different meanings. And if you are mindful, I know this is very basic, very easily understood, but if you are mindful of the way you speak and understand this concept, then when you are saying something and it doesn't give you the response that you want, you know that you can change the way that you're communicating it. Because if I say, I didn't say he stole the money, no, maybe I implied it, but I didn't really say it, right? Or I didn't say he stole her money, no, it was that dude's money that he stole. Yeah, so it changes the meaning of the communication. That's one of the key things. Emphasis in the right words, putting the accent where you want it in the sentences. So another thing in the power of language that's important is the order of the words which we use. And I'm going to give you another example because that's the easiest way to explain to you in a way that goes through the right communication channels, right? So the example is this. Think of a road. You got it? You're thinking of a road? Now make it of bricks. And now go ahead and make it yellow. You got it? So now obviously you are all thinking about a yellow brick road, right? But why do you want to make a brain work so hard? Yeah, maybe you were thinking of a street, maybe you were thinking of a highway, maybe you were thinking of a dirt road, no offense. But when you're communicating, if you say, think of a road and then make it of bricks and then make it yellow, the person that was thinking of a street will have to go, stop themselves, back up and go, oh, it's a brick road. Oh, okay, make it of bricks and has to change. And then starts moving forward again and has to go, and back up and make it yellow in order to comply with what you requested. And the problem with that, even though it arrives at the same place, is that it's tortured communication. Yeah, it makes it harder for you to lead the imagination in a way that is easily understood by the other person. What if you were to go think of a yellow brick road where you're going from the global descriptors, the global qualities of what you're saying, down to the more specific? Because if I say to you, think yellow, what comes to mind? It could be anything for anyone, right? You could think of a taxi cab, you could think of a smiley face or rubber ducky. Whatever it is, you're not really focusing on what that object is, you're focusing on the description, right? Yellow. And then if I say think of a yellow brick, then it's easy to wrap that yellow around the brick and sort of gently put it down on the road, and you are leading the imagination in a way that is not jarring. Yeah, does that make sense? Perfect. So you may be thinking, well, this is weird, right? Who is gonna tell somebody to think of a yellow brick road in the daily life. So I want to tell you a couple of examples of how you can use this in your personal situation. Of course, I'm just going to give you examples, and you're going to take it with you and run. Right? You're going to figure out what is actually going to work for your situation. Because in reality, it's a little weird if you're talking to people, telling them to think of a yellow brick road. So in your conversations, you could talk about a beautiful horse property, as opposed to thinking of a property for horses that's beautiful. Obviously, a really simplistic example. They all are, and that's the key. That's the key that I want you to get, to understand that these things are very simple, but there's something to be aware of. Just like he was saying, the first step to fixing any problem is awareness, right? So if you're aware of when you say something, you understand, well, wait a minute, I just made that person screech their tires and back up in order to figure out what I was really saying. Then you know that the next time you're going to communicate the same thing, you can think of a yellow brick road, and it'll make it easier for you to communicate. Next thing, if you're a doctor, you could say to somebody, you have a small benign tumor. And it's not as jarring if you say to somebody, you have a tumor. Oh, by the way, it's small and benign. Right? You could also go, when talking to yourself, you could say, I had a delicious and healthy meal. As opposed to saying, I had a meal, and it was delicious and healthy. Simple. Just a way of leading the imagination in a way that is easy. That is easy for the person listening, not only easy for you. You will, when you do this, the person will be able to listen through your whole spiel without having to think. And that is what is going to affect influence. Besides the order of the words and the emphasis on the words, which is what I call the power of language, and I am going to give you just tidbits here. Obviously, I only have about 30 minutes on stage, and there's a whole lot to talk about. So I'm going to give you just those tidbits on the power of language. If you want more, of course, I'd be happy to teach you some more later on. The next thing I want to talk about is conversational trance work, which is how do we actually create those moments of trance in people? How do we create that state of hypnosis that is so natural? Now that we know that it's everywhere, now that we know that it's simply a leading of the imagination, a focused concentration into a certain aspect of things or into a certain person that is talking to you or something like that, then how do we actually use those moments? And it goes back to the meaning of the communication is the response that you get. And the best way to think about this is, instead of when you're communicating with somebody and you want to influence them to do something, instead of thinking, what should I say? It helps if you think of, what emotion do I want to evoke? Because it is emotion that creates change. Would you agree? If you have nothing invested of yourself, then there is no change. So what emotion do I want to evoke? What emotion would this person need to be feeling in order to actually think of things my way? Does that make sense? So if you get nothing else out of my talk, get this. Instead of thinking, what should I say, think, what emotion do I want to evoke? Why? Because once you are at that emotion, once you decide, okay, if this person was feeling an emotion of desire, a feeling of desire, then it would be easy for me at that moment when they're feeling desire to say, why don't you buy this? Agree? So once you figure out, okay, I want this person to feel desire, what do you do with that? You inspire thoughts towards that end. Because this is how the cycle works. Thoughts create our feelings, right? When you have a negative thought about yourself, a disempowering thought, that creates some sort of negative feelings for you, which creates negative action. Negative action gets you what? Negative results, right? So we want to tweak that communication so that if we are sending in thoughts that are already positive, create positive feelings, those create positive action, and those positive actions get you closer to your goals. Agree? So thoughts create feelings, feelings create action, action creates results. Where we're going to jump into that part of the communication is the emotion part. What do I want this person to be feeling? I want this person to feel desire. Okay, then you ask yourself, what do I have to say in order to create that emotion? And it's sort of a reverse engineering process. When you know what you want the person to be feeling, you can back up yourself and inspire thoughts towards that end. And I want to give you a little story here to kind of illustrate the point of creating an emotion so that the message is received in an easier way. And it's really interesting. I'm sure you've had those moments where you think, man, I was exactly at the right place at the right time, right? Synchronicity. Everything is happening and it's like right there. I couldn't have possibly missed it. Well, I had one of those moments just a few months ago. Victor mentioned we just moved to San Diego it was about 6 months ago. So a few months ago, my girlfriend and I are sitting at a burger joint, just eating a burger, having a drink, eating a burger, chatting, watching TV, whatever. And this guy sitting next to us, he looks over and he goes, you guys look like a really dynamic couple. You're really cool. Congratulations. That's awesome. So we're like, okay, thank you. Weird, but again, a nice compliment anyway. So we look and we said, thanks. Stroke up a conversation. Obviously, we got to talking a little bit. And he just kept on saying, I know people, I speak all the time, and when I do, I see all these people that, and when I speak, I do this. So of course, being a speaker, that caught my attention. And I'm like, wait a minute. You keep mentioning speaking. What do you speak about? And he kind of looked at me a little weird. He's like, well, I'm a hypnotist. And I went, no kidding. That's just weird. Not only do I not meet many hypnotists unless I'm at a hypnosis convention or something, but somebody that presents themselves as a speaker and a hypnotist, which is the way I present myself to people. So I said, no kidding, that is interesting. Of course, we struck up more of a conversation. By this point, we're really building rapport. And my girlfriend's sitting there going, okay, now this is boring. Now we're talking shop. And he goes on to tell me about himself. He's like, I'm a multi-million-dollar speaker, been in the industry for almost 30 years, one of the top 50 trainers in the world. So I'm thinking, wow, this guy really, this is really cool. And he asked me a question, so where are you in your business? How do you build your audience? How do you monetize your audience? And I looked at him like, what audience? I have to build my audience. Every time I want to speak, I have to build an audience. He says, well, I'm going to take you by the hand. If you like, if you want to be coached, I'm going to take you by the hand, step by step, from where you are to where you want to go in the speaking business. Sounds pretty good, right? So I'm like, yeah, where do I sign? He says, well, I'm going to give you the first lesson here. Are you ready? I'm thinking, yes. Like taking note, pulling my phone out so I can write it down. He says, if you put your message inside a story, then your message is well received. Fair enough. That was the first lesson. So, of course, the point of my little story right there is, how do you create an emotion? You tell the person a story, and you put your message inside a story. Yeah, the message of my story was, put your message inside a story. Understand? I built that curiosity about the coach and about all the things that he does and he knows. And then I'm backing up and saying, and he gave me this nugget of information that will change your life, right? So everybody's going, let's hear it. And then when that happens, I can say, put your message inside a story. And you all understand that in a way that it goes in more directly to your communication channels inside and actually makes you think, how do I do that? How do I create a story? Because it's a little clunky if you're conversing with somebody and you go, well, once upon a time. It doesn't work that easily, right? But I've developed ways, and it's not only me, anybody that's a storyteller can develop ways to use storytelling in the communication that you already do in your day-to-day basis. So when I started in hypnosis in 2006, I also got a job at a restaurant. And I used restaurants throughout my life as training grounds for my hypnosis skills. And I have broken records at all the restaurants where I worked for sales performance, because I have been tweaking my communication. Oh, I'm going to offer this to you, and if it doesn't sell, okay, next time I'm going to offer a different way. And once it starts selling, then I have found ways that actually push people in the direction that I want them to go. So that's what I'm going to do as an example to you, so that it's more easily understood how you can use this in your daily life in conversation without it being weird. So let's just say that I'm going to sell you a salmon, right? You come to my restaurant, you're sitting at my table, and I walk up to you, and I'm your server. So who wants to play along and ask me how my salmon is? Somebody toward the front row. Would you? Oh, sir, Craig, would you like to do it from back there? He was raising his hand too. He's more eager than you are. Is that okay?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So there are 3 types of servers. There are actually 3 types of communicators. So this applies to any industry. I'm going to apply it to serving because that is something that is close to me and I have developed. You can obviously put the proper frame around that and use it to your life. There are 3 types of servers. There are the order takers, then there are knowledgeable servers, and then there are knowledgeable servers who also have the skills of influence on their side. So, here goes the first one. Ask me.
How's your salmon?
Oh, it's really good. Would you like one? All right, so that is an order taker. In fact, that is more than an order taker because I actually asked for the sale, right? I actually try to close you. Do you want one? As opposed to just saying, what would you like to eat? And not answering any questions. But in essence, that's an order taker, somebody that's not really putting any forward effort to actually describe something or paint a picture in a way that the person will understand it. So let's do it once again. I'm going to show you a different type of server.
How's your salmon?
Mine, the one I just ate. Yeah. Our salmon is fantastic. It comes medium rare with a side of rice and a side of green beans and a tomato basil vinaigrette. It's awesome. Would you like one?
Yes.
Okay, so we're getting a little closer, right? The server is actually painting a picture somewhat so that the person can sit there and imagine, okay, I can imagine that piece of salmon with the sides and a little sauce on top. And then I close him with, it's awesome, would you like one? And he goes, yeah, I could have one of those. You know, that's a decent server. That's a good server. But now, listen to the last one. When somebody that has the skills of influence, go ahead.
How's your salmon?
Well, let me put it to you this way. I brought one to that table right there. When I came back to check on it, the guy was speechless about how good his salmon was. Would you like one?
Yes.
Yes. So you can see that I started a simple story by saying, I brought one to the table over there so you can put yourself in that moment of your imagination where you're sitting there and the server's bringing the salmon. And then when I came back to check on it, so you're thinking, okay, I've already tasted it, the person is coming to check on it, and I am just speechless about how good it is. Right? So this person is getting involved in those feelings. Mind you, I didn't even tell the person how the salmon was cooked, what the salmon came with, and did you all kind of feel the difference when I said, you know, when I told the story, did you kind of get into it?
Yeah.
Did you? Fantastic. So what if it's a server that actually has the skills and paints the picture? I could just as well say, well, let me put it to you this way. I brought one to that table over there. They absolutely loved it. When I came back to check on it, they were speechless about how good it was. It comes cooked medium rare with a side of rice and a side of green beans and a tomato basil vinaigrette. It's awesome. Would you like one? And now I'm combining those things, painting a picture in a way that it's created the emotion, and now it's giving the person the intellectual knowledge of what I'm actually selling them, so that they can decide to buy the salmon, right? So that's important. If you're able to close them right there, if you're able to make your offer and the person goes, yes, I want the salmon, it's awesome, right? That's like, meaning of my communication was right. Now, how do you save those emotions? How do you save those feelings that you have created so that you can use them in something else? Because what if I don't want to sell the salmon? Maybe I don't want to sell the salmon. And a lot of times I don't want to sell the salmon. So I will come up to my table and I may instigate that same feeling of desire by saying, I brought one to the table over there. It was awesome. And then we're going to go into the section of anchoring. And I'm going to give you the example first because I just simply started that way. So, how's your salmon? Anyway, oh, it's awesome. It comes with back up. How's your salmon? Oh, it's great. I just brought one to the table over there. When I came back to check on it, the person was speechless about how good it was. And once I've created that emotion, once I notice that the person is actually going, yes, yes, on the edge of their seat going, tell me more about the salmon, then I can maybe tap a little bit on the table and go, thank you, you know, I'll be back in a moment, I'm going to get you some drinks, or something along those lines where I have created a conditioned response. When I noticed that the emotion was alive, I tapped here, you know, I leaned, maybe I said something, yeah, it's awesome. I'll be back in a moment, and I will go away. And then when I come back, maybe they have a question about their fillet. And instead of going through that same experience of the, of telling them a story, I can simply do the same thing I did when I tell them how good it is. How's your filet? Oh man, it is awesome. Remember what I told you about the salmon? And that feeling is instantly revived, and you don't have to do all the work. So that is what it's called anchoring, and it's a very popular concept if you remember Pavlov's dogs, where he would ring a bell and then feed the dogs, ring a bell and then feed the dogs. It requires repetition, it requires timing, and it requires a clarity of the state of the emotion that you want the person to feel. So by the time that he rang the bell a few times, the dogs knew that it was time to be fed. So they started salivating without even actually tasting the food. Same thing that we're doing here. We're making the people salivate over the salmon without even tasting the food. And we can do that, we can do that in all our senses. We have 5 senses, and they're all important to us in different proportions. And if you're familiar with NLP, it talks about representational systems. Our visual, or kinesthetic, auditory, and then our smell, taste. Those are our 5 senses. You can use anchors in all of those senses, and you can actually combine senses, combine representational systems in a way that they become more powerful, because when you see something, you get some sort of emotion. But when you see that something and you hear something and feel something at the same time, now you have something that you can really cling on to. Agree? Okay. So think of a sound, for example, something that maybe of your past, a song that you say, oh honey, that's our song. Or something like that. Everybody has those things that, oh, I remember that song and it reminds me of something from my childhood or something, brings out those emotions, right? So that song is an anchor to that emotion. That song is bringing up alive those emotions inside. You can do that with an image. If you think of a picture of somebody that you love or something, you can see that image and instantly you can get those feelings inside of love, of connection, of whatever that is. Think of a texture, maybe a blankie or a quilt or something from when you were a kid or whatever. The smell of fresh baked bread. Can everybody remember what fresh baked bread smells like? And when you smell that, then you go, reminds me of that, when I was a kid, or when I did this, when I did that. And you can do the same thing with taste. Same thing, when you taste something and goes, man, just like grandma used to make, right? So that's how anchoring is used. And before we go to the next portion, let me see if this is, yeah, that's what I thought. Before we go into the next portion, I want to give you a short 4-minute motivational speech all wrapped into one. Okay? I've talked about the 3 areas that I wanted to talk about: the power of language, conversational trance work, and anchoring. Hopefully I've given you at least a few key items that you can go, oh, I'm going to keep that in mind. I'm going to use that, right? And before I go to the next part, I want to talk to you about something important. Because would you agree that most people don't achieve their goals in the time frame that they set for themselves? Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Yes. Why do you think that is? Do you have any ideas?
Because they don't put a restriction on it. I say, I desire to have, this is part of what that's why I'm here, but I desire to have whatever it is, and it's personal obviously, but I desire to have da-da-da-da-da-da by February 28th, 2013. And I did that, and most recently something happened. I just started doing it this year, and it happened. Today was the date it was supposed to happen, it happened Saturday.
Fantastic.
When you put it into place, and because the mind doesn't understand time until you create the limitation.
Fantastic. Any other ideas why some people don't achieve their goals in the time frame that they set for themselves? Yes.
Don't they just lose focus?
Lose focus. Yes, in a way. I like to break it down into. Go ahead.
I think sometimes when we think we want something, we separate ourselves from it. We're almost creating a picture of it being away from us.
Something outside of yourself,
Yeah.
which doesn't let you get involved. Yeah, if you're seeing things through your own eyes, hearing them through your ears, feeling them inside, then you're able to get connected with those goals and actually move forward to achieve them. Yeah, I like to break that down. All that you said is all right. I like to break it down into 3 main things that make people stuck that don't get them to their goals in the time frame that they set for themselves. The first one is clarity, which is knowing what you want, knowing why you want it, right? Because you have to be involved. Like I said, you have to know why you want it. If you want $1 million, that's great. But you could get $1 million by robbing a bank. Is that the way you want to do it? No. So when you think about $1 million, what is that $1 million really going to do for you? What are you going to get emotionally? What are you going to get internally as a result of achieving that goal of the $1 million? And that is the connection. That is the value behind the goal. You could say, well, I'm going to feel significant because I am going to be able to use 750,000 out of that $1 million to donate to a charity. Okay, the picture has completely changed, right? You don't want $1 million. What you want to do is make a change in the world and help that charity, right? So having that clarity, being connected with those goals at a deeper level than just thinking, I want $1 million, is the first step to actually actualizing those goals. The next thing would be commitment, right? Once you have the clarity and you see the goal and you know what it is you want, you can decide what is going to take to get there. And then you have to, for yourself and by yourself, just think, what am I committing myself to, right? Am I willing to actually do what it takes to get there, to get to those goals, to get to that $1 million, right? Is that sort of commitment within me, or do I need to change the direction that I'm going? Or do I need to change the goal? Is the goal realistic, right? What commitment are you willing to put forward in order to actually achieve those goals? And then the third thing is action. Because commitment is nothing if you are not able to take action on that commitment, right? If you are not what you want, not where you want, right? You haven't achieved all the goals that you want to achieve, and you know that you have to do something in order to achieve them, right? Because if you haven't achieved them, it's because you either not doing enough or you're in the process of achieving. But the way that I like to think about goals being achieved is on a step-by-step process, where if you're aligned with the values that you've set for yourself, the values that your goals are going to provide you, then you can make every action of every day get you a little bit closer to that goal. Because now I'm not living for that $1 million. Now I'm living for, I want to make a difference. And while you live, while you make a difference in small steps, you're getting yourself closer to that goal. You're actually fulfilling the value inside of you, which is much, much, much more powerful than the actual goal of $1 million itself. Yeah? So taking action. You know the definition of insanity, right? Continuing to do the same thing, expecting a different result. It doesn't work. So taking action goes back to being aware of it, making a commitment of what I need to do, and am I willing to do it, and then actually taking that step outside of your comfort zone to do the things that you need to do. So what I'd like for you to do right now is look at that sheet of paper that you have in front of you, that you've written the 1, 2, 3 on, that I asked you at the beginning, and just look at it. Do you have at least 3 things on it that you can use today? Yeah? Does anybody not have at least 3 things that you felt good about the information you received? All right, fantastic. So what I'd like to do now is offer you the bonus section, which is actually what I call the sales pitch. Since this is a talk about communication skills, it's a talk about influence, then what I'm going to do is very simply demonstrate a short sales process for you, in which I am actually going to make you an offer for learning more about what we do and how we can do this together, help you get from where you are to those goals. Okay? So it is part of the presentation, and it's also there to serve a purpose. It's called Let Me Sell You Something. Victor and I, we'll be able to help you with the clarity portion of things. In a little bit, we're going to do that dual induction, an amazing hypnosis process that I believe everybody's going to be just amazed. Floor, when you live here, it's going to be amazing. But I want to talk to you now about the commitment and the action in order to actually get you from where you are to where you want to go. Victor and I were talking about putting this event together, and we're thinking, well, what are we going to do? You know, what is the goal of our speaking? What do we want the people to do, right? Do we want them to just come for a 2-hour seminar and then leave home and go empowered and then set them free? And we thought, no, not really, right? We want to whet their appetite with some skills that are usable and then show them a way how they can achieve even more. So we talked about what are we going to put together as far as a coaching sort of program. And we decided that the best thing to do was to put our minds together. Since we're both hypnotists, we're both professionals at what we do, we decided to put together a coaching program that is actually 6 weeks in length. It's a 6-week program with 7 total sessions. We'll have some phone sessions that are conferences between all of us, not all as in the group, but all would be the 3 of us, Victor and I and you. And we will have 4 live sessions in which you will make breakthroughs, you will make changes in your life that are actually going to get you a step closer to your goal, or a leap closer to your goals. Yeah. Now you can go to all sorts of seminars. You can go to Tony Robbins, you can go to T. Harv Eker, you can go to any speaker's seminar, and they're going to sell you a program that is $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, right? And they're going to ask you, you have to buy today, and we're going to change your life with that information. And what's interesting is that those speakers are great. They're fantastic, and they have achieved the level of success that they have achieved because they're good. But what you have in front of you that is actually a little bit different, and, well, actually a whole lot different, is that there are 2 practitioners, right? 2 people that know how to help others make changes. 2 people that are so interested, so committed to your success. Now what we have to do is make sure that you are also committed to your success. Yeah? Because you can go to all those seminars and you can learn a few skills, or you can just take opportunities that are right in front of you. Now if I told you that our coaching program is $10,000, but you're gonna make $100,000 because of it, that'd be a pretty easy thing, right? If I could guarantee that to you, that would be pretty cool. I mean, you'd be crazy not to, bless you, you'd be crazy not to take action, right? If I said for $10,000 you're gonna make this much, well, obviously I cannot make that guarantee. Victor cannot make that guarantee, and if anybody makes that guarantee for you, you should probably hit the highway, right, and run. So we thought, okay, Victor, what are we going to do? How are we going to push these people to action? We don't have a $10,000 package, okay? So you can all, because I feel everybody was like holding up so strong, thinking, how are you going to sell us this stuff? Well, that's not the way it is. Our coaching program is called Supercharge Your Life, and it's going to boost you from where you are to those goals where you want to go. And it is a 6-week transformational work in which we're going to meet once a week. The first week we're going to meet twice a week, then we're going to meet once a week until after the 6 weeks you're going to be a different person. It is that simple. And I thought, well, Victor, what are we going to do? What do you think these people are committed to, right? He says, well, I don't know. Well, I'll ask you. If you had to drink 1 latte less every day for a year, if you know that you can go from where you are to where you're achieving your goals at the highest maximum potential, would you do it? Would you be committed enough to not drink a cup of coffee every day, or a cup of a latte? And we started thinking about pricing. What are we going to do about the price? We don't want the $20,000 package. We don't want the $10,000 package. We thought what we're going to do today is we're going to offer you, your investment for this program is only $2,000. We thought, okay, that's pretty good. But then we got to thinking, man, nobody's going to come here and be prepared to just fork out a credit card and give us $2,000 for some coaching, right? So I said, what can we do for these people that will really push them to action? And Victor started throwing some numbers at me. Let's do a 10% discount, a 15% discount, a 20% discount. So we ended up thinking about a 20% discount, which is over $400 off. A 6-week program that can help you really, literally change your life from where you are to where you want to go. But then I got to thinking, I said, Victor, man, it's Thursday afternoon. We have invited all these people to come here. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. These people have already shown us that they have the commitment, that they are willing to invest in themselves, to invest their time in coming to listen to us speak. Why don't we do something extra nice for them? And that's where the idea for the 1 cup of coffee a year came from. Because the price that we ended up on after we debated a little bit, was $12.97. And that is the final price, and that is the sign up today price, just like all the other speakers are going to do. And if you think about it, if that commitment, if making that commitment of drinking 1 cup of latte less every day will actually get you from where you are to where you want to go, because you're able to invest in this coaching program, invest in yourself to grow yourself, then would you be ready to make that commitment? And I'm not asking you for that commitment today. Let's pass those things out. I got so caught up in talking, I forgot that we had papers. When you hand them out, you're right. So what you're receiving right now is a breakdown of how the program works, how our coaching program works, and then on the next sheet there's an actual application. Now, in reality, I know that there's about 30 of you here, and not all of you are going to be just gung-ho and ready to do this. You may have some questions. That's fine. Come up and ask us. Don't just assume that you don't want something. Let's actually put a little thought into it and decide if these guys can actually help me to take action and go for my goals, then why not listen to what they have to say? So I want to urge you to think about what this means to you. If you could achieve your goals, if we could help you break down those limiting beliefs, if we could help you take that step outside of your comfort zone so that you're always growing, then would you be ready to make a choice and an investment in yourself? Because life is made of choices, right? The choices that we make today are the ones that are forging our future ahead. And I like to think about every time I make a choice, as I said earlier, having my goals align with my values. And if my actions are getting me closer to my goals and to my values, then I know that I'm going in the right direction. And I want to make sure that I'm making the right choices today. Because it doesn't matter what happened yesterday, it doesn't matter what happened a year ago, or it doesn't matter why you have a limiting belief. What matters is that maybe you do have a limiting belief. And if you do have a limiting belief, then we can help. And the action you take today is going to propel you forward or keep you where you are. I want to urge you to, whether you go with our coaching program or not, that you take action, that you actually think about these things: clarity, commitment, and action, and actually put that step forward into learning more. I want to leave you with one quote by Eleanor Roosevelt, which it's actually a very powerful and very popular quote, done by so many authors, but Eleanor Roosevelt has the version that I really like, and it says, "Time waits for no man. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift." And that's why we call it the present. So whatever happened yesterday does not count. Whatever is going to happen tomorrow does not count, because it may not happen. But what we can do is live our life and make every choice that we make in a way that is empowering to us today. Would you agree? Fantastic. So that is it for my sales presentation. Do you all have any questions? Does anyone have any questions?
Well, first of all, let's give them a round of hand.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions about what we discussed or the coaching program, or anything that we can clear up before we actually move on to the hypnosis portion? No?
Don't be shy.
Everything came in nice and clear to your communication channels? Fantastic. All right, well, I will give this back to you, sir. Will you do some announcements, or are you going to do this later?
You can put it up right now.
Cool. Just go to the next this one, the next.
Cool. So let's go ahead and give him another round of applause. Did you enjoy the presentation? Was it good? Woo. What did you learn? I want some feedback. What's your name? Yes.
Tracy.
What did you take from the presentation?
When he was talking about how he went like that.
The
and
anchor.
The table, yeah, the anchoring.
Anchoring's powerful. Okay. Who's familiar with NLP? Yes.
Right. Let me say one last thing.
Yeah.
Just stay there. Because I wanted to sort of dissect that the sales presentation so that you understand how I use the things that I use. You might have noticed that a lot of times I mention those speakers, everything that's wrong with the world is right over there. Everything that's right with the world and all the things that, not there, like
Yeah.
over there. Everything that's right with the world, all the goals that you're going to achieve are here. Right, I don't know if you noticed that I used the same type of body language when I talked about those speakers, when I talked about these goals. Then I actually came over here and I gave you from their point of view about their coaching programs, and then I moved back to us and I said, now take the opportunity that's in front of you.
We call that spatial anchoring in NLP.
Yeah. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about what I did with the anchoring. So
who's familiar with NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming? So basically, NLP, real quick, he talked about hypnosis. NLP is just excellence in communication, how to be an effective communicator. Usually when we talk to people, we tend to talk to people how we want to be talked to, instead of how they want to be talked to, instead of using their language. Salespeople do it all the time. Who's in sales here? Yeah, a few of you, right? Usually when we sell to people, we tend to sell them how we want to sell them. I mean, how we want to be sold. Instead of taking time and understanding their language, their emotional hot buttons. If they're more visual, they're more auditory, they're more kinesthetic, and speaking their language. As he mentioned before, the meaning of any communication is always the response that it elicits. Does that make sense? The meaning of any communication is always the response that it elicits. Not the communication that you think you are eliciting, but the meaning that the other person is interpreting. And that's the power of communication. Okay? We love NLP, we love hypnosis. And those are some of the modalities and some of the tools that we're going to incorporate in the coaching. And I'm very excited because this is the first time that I hear from any type of school, any type of NLP institute, any type of hypnosis institute where two people get together and coach the same person. Me and Juan combined, we have about 14 years combined experience coaching, therapeutic. I started with weight loss, stopped smoking, then I got into phobias and fears. Now I specialize in depression. Now I help people with cancer and so forth and so forth. He has his own specialties too. And this is the first time that I ever heard that two coaches, two hypnotists get together to help just one person. As he mentioned before, in the beginning of our session, we're going to get together as a three-way. We're going to learn what you want. We're going to learn what are the outcomes you want, what are the desires you want, what are the dreams that you want, and what's more important, what is preventing you getting what you want, yes? Because obviously most of you know what you want. That's not the problem. We are good at asking things, but we're not good at receiving what we ask for. Isn't it funny that the very same thing that we ask for, we're afraid of it, yes? Because it's more comfortable being in our struggles and pain than stepping out of the comfort zone and facing the fear where our desires, success, our dreams is at, yes? And I'm here to tell you, yes or yes? Yes. And I'm here to tell you that your success, your happiness, your freedom is only as big as your comfort zone. It's only as big as your little inner world. And if you have a small comfort zone, then your success is small too. If you want to take some valuable information, this is one of them right here. Besides all the pros that Juan gave you, find out what you're afraid and do it. Find out what you fear the most and do it, because that is the greatest change that you're going to receive. And here's the beautiful thing. Once you do it, you're going to realize how foolish and how ridiculous it was even to begin to be afraid of that. Yes or yes? You're gonna realize that 90% of all your fears, 90% of all your obstacles, 90% of your challenges are just hallucinations. It's in your mind. We're not born with fear. Some doctors will say we're born with two fears: the fear of falling, and the fear of loud noise. If you get a 2-month baby and you clap or something, they get scared. That's only two fears that we're supposedly born with. Every other fear, you have learned it. I'm here to tell you that your anger, your sadness, your guilt, your sadness, fear, guilt, anger is learned behavior. And all learned behavior is unconscious. And if you want to change a behavior that you learn unconsciously, from tying your shoelaces, from driving, from a negative behavior or habit that you don't like, you must do it unconsciously. How do you do that? There's so many ways. How me and Juan do it? Through powerful modalities like NLP and hypnosis. And that is the package that we want to offer. Yes, Juan?
I just realized that a couple of people walked out of here, and they maybe walked out because we didn't tell them about the guarantee. So would you explain the guarantee to them?
The guarantee is this, if it comes up to my mind, the guarantee is this. If you're not happy with the results, if you're not happy how we coach, if you're not happy after the second session,
Our second session, which is our first breakthrough.
if you're not happy with the results from now to then, we will gladly refund the whole amount of money. Besides that, for some people, I understand that maybe $12.97 is a little bit a lot. We do offer payment plans, but here's the thing. I want to start talking about it. The beautiful thing is the best way. I learned something. I learned something from a teacher in high school. I remember we had a health teacher in high school, and he was very big, very cut. And the students used to ask him, you know, how do you get like that? How do you get cut? How do you get so big? And he used to say, in the morning before I wake, after I wake, obviously after he wakes up, right? Not before he wakes up. In the morning after he wakes up, he said, I do 50 sit-ups and 50 push-ups. And we used to say like, you know, wow, you know, how do you get into that mode? I mean, isn't there times where you don't feel like doing it? And isn't there times you feel like lazy? And he would say, yes. So I go, how did you start it? What's the best way to start? And he would tell us, sometimes he'll be laying down on the ground or on the bed. He'll be in the first position, and he would tell himself, the best way to start is to what? Start. And I'm here to tell you the only way you can start and the best way to start is to start. Okay? And of course there's some limitations that might want to prevent you. There's some fears that might want to prevent you. But outside of those fears, outside of those limitations, that's where your success is. And that's where your joy is. And that's where your freedom. And that's the opportunity that we love to give to you. Sounds good? Yeah. Beautiful. Real quick, some announcements. So we're going to take maybe a 5-7 minute break. If you got to go to the bathroom, because we're going to do a powerful hypnosis. Who's from Meetup here? Mostly all things San Diego, yes?
Stay here.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Sorry, man. I just realized that I didn't put an H on my thoughts here. I can speak, but
That's
I can't write.
thought-provoking.
All right. Just in case.
For all us editors in here. That was bugging me. Yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping nobody caught it.
So those that are through Meetup, I'm one of the core organizers for All Things San Diego. We have about over 6,000 members. My friend Kent, he's the founder. And then we have our own personal groups. A few of them I know that you're already a part of it. So we have the empowerment group. If you go to Meetup, so if you go empowerment groups, meetup.com/empowerment group, this group will come up. It's free to join. As a group, we do meditation, we do NLP, we do hypnosis, we do a lot of mind-body techniques, we work on health, we work on relationships, we work on memory. So I would love for all of you to join. It's absolutely free. You will get updated of free events, free seminars, free classes, and some low-cost workshops. Another group that, who's part of the empowerment group right now? Okay, so maybe 1, 2, 3. San Diego NLP Mastermind, who's already part of that? So maybe 1 or 2 or 3. That's a group also free to join. If you go to meetup.com/San Diego NLP Hypnosis Mastermind group, or you can just Google it, search it. That's a group just specifically for NLP and hypnosis. Okay? Also, if you visit RazeeEmpowerment.com, that's my personal website, or Juan's Thoughts into Results, that's our personal website. If you got Facebook, I would love for you also to join our Facebook page or my Facebook page. It's the Razee Empowerment. Some of you have my card. I ran out of cards, but if you just put Razee Empowerment or just Google my name, my Facebook page will come up. Just click the like button, and then you also get updated. Sounds good? Cool. So that is it for the announcements. Anything else you want to add?
What do you think? 5 minutes, and then we do the.
What do you want? 5 or 10 minutes?